Hey, what's going on, collectors? It's Miguel here from Toy Quest 101, and on this episode, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the newest figure to come out of Hot Toys, and that is the Chopper 6-scale figure from Ahsoka. And all that's happening right now. Hey, welcome back, collectors. It's Miguel here as always, and welcome to this new episode of Toy Quest 101. Now, like I mentioned before, guys, on today's episode, we have the newest figure to come out of Hot Toys, and that is the Chopper 6-scale figure from the Ahsoka series, which I'm super pumped up about because he's an angry and sassy little droid, and he's definitely one of my favorites. Now, guys, if you're new to this channel or if you've been here already, guys, please consider subscribing to Toy Quest 101. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any toy reviews, statue unboxings, or any celebrity guests that might pop up on our show. Now, you might know Chopper from Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, which he was one of my favorite characters on there. Or, like I said, this is from the Ahsoka series. He made his live action debut on there, and he's pretty cool, man. And that's what we have here. Now, Hot Toys has been pumping out all these Ahsoka figures lately, and they've been doing a really good job with them. Now, I didn't get the whole series or collect all of them. I'm kind of just a droid guy, so when they came out with Chopper, that's who I ordered, and I'm so excited to unbox him today and see what it's all about. Now, as always, we're going to start with the box, guys. You got your typical Star Wars Hot Toys box. It's all black. You see the figure in the front, and you kind of have this die-cut banner that goes around the box, but it's very beautiful. You see the black and blue accents here. You see Chopper here with his little antenna. On the side, you see Chopper kind of die-cut as well. And on the back, you're going to see some information about Hot Toys and legal stuff. But nonetheless, the box is pretty cool. Nice little presentation. But I really want to see what this droid's all about. So let's get to unboxing it. Hey, welcome back, collectors. As you can see, Chopper is out of the box and on the turntable, and he looks pretty cool, guys. I love the color applications. I think that's what did it for me with this figure. And there's a couple things that I do like and dislike. We're going to talk about that throughout this video. And of course, I'm going to be posing him throughout the video as well, so you can see some of the options that I like to display him with, and talk about accessories and of course articulation. Now, the first thing out of the box, guys, is this actually came with a little instructions pamphlet. It was actually taped on the inside of the plastic on the bottom, which I almost didn't see. But I really like this because it's explained a lot to me as far as articulation and where some of the components go. And there's even a little tool that came with it that I had no idea what it was for, and this actually told me what it was for. So this is really cool. I'm happy that they went ahead and included this instruction sheet with Chopper, which is really, really neat. Now, off the back, there's a couple things I dislike. Now, obviously, I knew this was going to be a plastic figure, but I really would have loved if this was die cast. Obviously, it isn't, and we knew that, but this would have been cool if it was die cast because it's really not that heavy, and you can feel that it's very plasticky. Now, the other thing that I don't understand, and I'm not sure why Hot Toys doesn't do this, is that this actually doesn't come with a base. Now, understandably, it doesn't need a base, guys, but when you are displaying a bunch of 6 scale figures on their pedestals or displays. You got Chopper just kind of sitting on the floor. It's not level. I know that might bother certain collectors out there. For me, I don't really care because he's going to be next to other droids. I'm not going to have him with any of the Rebels, you know, characters or any of the Ahsoka characters. I just kind of like the droids and certain figures from Star Wars. I'm not the type to collect the entire line. So for me, it doesn't matter, but I could see where it could bother somebody not having a base. So I really hope in the near future, Hot Toys includes bases with these types of figures, or they just sell them separate for you guys to go ahead and have them all level and nice in your display. But the first thing we're going to talk about are the accessories, so let's get right to it. Alright guys, so let's talk about the accessories that come with Chopper. Now there's really not a lot of them, but there are some pretty cool ones that come with him. So the first one I want to talk about is the Hu Yang hologram, which I thought was a really cool added piece for this figure. Now in this series, Hu Yang does communicate through hologram with Ahsoka using Chopper, and I think they did a pretty good job, you know, transferring that from the series onto this figure, because you see this little see-through plastic Hu Yang here to give it that hologram look, and some light could shine through it, which I thought was really well done and gets the job done of making it look like that hologram. Now you could have Chopper holding on to this, which is not something I'm going to be doing. So I would like for this to stand up on its own, and it has a little you know, hologram beacon here on the bottom that does come on and off, and it's a little hard though to stand up by itself here on the table. As you can see, it does fall off, but if you try a little bit and, you know, wiggle it a certain way to kind of balance it, you can have this set next to Chopper, or if you have an Ahsoka figure, you can have her holding it. It's really up to you, but that's why they have options. Now this is a really cool piece to include with Chopper, so I thought, you know, they did a good job with that. And like I said, it's really well done. It's sculpted very good. I mean, it just looks really, really good. And again, it's a hologram, and they made it look like a hologram. So they really nailed this one, in my opinion, which was really cool. Now, something that it came with, speaking about holding on to Hu Yang, is this little gadget right here, this little tool that it came with. I didn't know what this was, but this is to actually reach into Chopper's third hand here in the middle of his body and to pull it out, which thank God they had this, because my fat fingers were not going to take out that arm. But that's the way you take out the arm from Chopper and have him holding on to the hologram. Now, another thing that it does come with are two options for the antenna. You have one kind of off on an angle, singling out to somebody if he's communicating, or the one that's on him now, which is straight up, which is probably the one I'm going to use. But you do have both those options, which I thought was really, really cool. Now, it does also come with a tracking beacon here, which I believe that's what this is from this series. The paint applications look okay. You got some silver, black, and gold here. Some weathered stuff on there too, which is kind of cool, because as you see, Chopper is very weathered and distressed, so he looks really, really cool. So check that out here. Another just a little accessory that you can have with him. And of course, the arms. Now, I like these arms a lot, guys, because it does have some padding here for it not to get kind of messed up when it's in there, chip the paint. But it is magnetic, so here on the sides, you could kind of pop out this little part here on the side of his head and pop in his arms, and they are articulated as well, which we're going to talk about a little later. But this is pretty cool, guys. I really love that they added these arms, and of course you have some other arms here as well to kind of have them bent up, which I guess these other ones really don't have them, I guess because you don't have any motion here on the wrist, and these are kind of like up. But this is the most animated part of Chopper, is how he swings his arms. And like I mentioned before, he's a very sassy and angry little droid. So the arms for me are very, very important when you're posing Chopper, because it gives him, you know, the ability to express himself. And like I said, he's always angry and very animated, and that's my favorite part about Chopper. So now that we talked about all the accessories that come with Chopper, let's talk about the articulation. All right, guys, so we're gonna talk about Chopper's articulation. Now, this is very important for me because we want a Chopper to be able to express himself. Like I mentioned before, he's very animated. He's always angry and sassy. His arms are always flaring up. So this is very important, and I really hope that the articulation on this figure does it justice, because you're really not gonna be able to pose him a lot, but those little, intricate details in the articulation is really what's gonna give him the ability to express himself angry like the way he is on the shows. Now, the first thing I want to talk about are the legs. Now, the legs are on ratchet joints, as you can hear them clicking here, and they go pretty far back and front. And the bottom of the legs here on the feet, this also has some articulation, some movement up and down. So you can go ahead and flatten those wheels with his third wheel in the front and really get him to roll, guys. Now, this is really no issues here rolling. I really like that. It's very smooth. But like I said, this is really well done here with these ratchet joints. Now, this third wheel here on the bottom does come out. You can just wiggle it out, and it just kind of has some sort of articulation if you want to turn it, give it that really good, nice little look here, or you can keep it straight. It's up to you. But I thought that was really cool. Something dumb, but those minor little details are really gonna give him the ability to express himself, which I love that about this droid. Now, like I mentioned before, there's a little tool here to kind of hide the arm here. Your fingers are not going to fit. So this little tool kind of goes in here and reaches out to get that third arm. Now, that third arm does have articulation as well. It has two joints here, one here in the back, kind of like the elbow, and one here for the wrist, to really get that animated look, of him moving his hands. Now, the claws or the clamps here also go up and down so he could hold stuff. So that's really well done. And like I said, you can go ahead and, pose that as you guys want. But I think that's very important. So they did a good job there too. Now, my favorite part and my favorite articulation of the Chopper figure is the ball joint on his head. Now, this enables you to go ahead and position his head left and right, or down, or on an angle, which, like I said, is very, very important to make sure that you could have him show his expressions and his anger and stuff when he's tilted his head and his hands are up, he's confused or frustrated. So I'm glad that they included that, and it goes all the way around. You can tilt it forward, back to the sides. It's really well done there, so I'm really glad about that. And of course, when we move back to his arms, which are part of accessories, now again, these go inside the side here. You take that little part out, and these are magnetic, and they could go up and down if you want one to be higher than the other, which is really good. And like I said, you could go ahead and move them. There are joints here on the elbow, and you could kind of pose them the way you want. For me, I think I'm gonna hide this third arm because he's really not gonna be holding anything, but I am gonna have him kind of flaring his arms out, his head tilted to the side, just being angry and frustrated and sassy. But I think they did a good job with the articulation on this droid, on Chopper. I think it did it justice, and it's going to be able you to really express your Chopper the way he is in the series. So I hope you guys like that about this Chopper. I think they did a good job with the articulation. So let's jump into Chopper himself and talk about his paint applications and the things that you can do with him. All right, guys, so now that we talked about the accessories and the articulation, let's take a look at the color applications of Chopper and how he's built, guys. Now, for me, the color applications is what really did this figure justice. Because it's not die cast, it's a really big letdown for me. We knew it wasn't going to be die cast, but the paint applications had to make up for it not being die cast. And I think they did a really good job with it, because Chopper's like a really grimy mechanical droid. He's always dirty. You can see the grime and all the weathering on them and stuff, and they did exactly that with these paint applications. Now, starting off with the orange on the top, you see it's almost like it's painted on metal, right? They gave it that really well done weathered look, that grimy look. Like you see some rusty spots here, it's almost like it's dirty, right? So I think they did a good job there. The second layer of orange here, that little line that goes around his head, they did a good job with that. And you're gonna see all the line details here on the top and on the front where his kind of eyes are and stuff. There's a lot of mechanical components here, and even the antenna looks pretty good, guys. They did a good job, with the paint applications. They are also weathered, and his hands kind of are like a gunmetal gray with silver little joints and stuff. So they did pay attention to those small details to really make him stand out. even the part where his head is on that ball joint, that little, you know, crease in there, you could see that it's just dirty and grimy. So he did a good job painting in there to make it look like it's all rusty and stuff. I thought that was really cool. Now the front of him looks really good. You see the white and you see like these baby blues. You see all the mechanical components here on the bottom, some wiring and stuff. They really paid attention to the details there. You're gonna see some like, you know, like hidden compartments and doors here in different colors. So he's kind of like, you know, like almost like a Build-A-Droid, right? Like you see him all with different parts, and you could tell with his legs too. You see one white leg here, the other leg silver. So you could see that Chopper's like a, you know, like a really, like, for me, he's like a mechanic, right? So he does have that look to him where he's just a bunch of different colors. He's all grimy, he's full of like rust, and he's very weathered. So he did a good job kind of mixing the weathering paint applications with the nicer paint applications, and all the details on his legs look really good. Even the back of him, you're gonna see some more components and line work. And like I said, his legs look good. You see some, you know, wiring here on the side of the leg. You see some pistons and some hydraulics. And here on the back of his leg as well, you're gonna see a lot of wiring coming out and hoses and stuff. The wheels look good. I mean, this wheel here in the front is rubber, which I thought was nice. And you're gonna see the weathering here between the silver and metal components that it's trying to mimic. And they did a really good job with it. I mean, overall, the paint applications for me is what really saved this figure from Hot Toys. I think they did a good job with it. There's really not much they could do to make it better aside from maybe coming with a stand. And for me, just it being die cast. If it was die cast and heavy, that would be really, really cool. But it's not, it's just plastic. But for the most part, I think they did a really, really good job with this figure. Now, I'm not sure about size, like compared to like a 6 scale, you know, Hera or something next to him. I don't know if he's really that big or if he's gonna look good next to them when you're talking about sizes like compared to real life. But I think he's a decent size. I think he'll pair well with a 6 scale figure, like if he's with Ahsoka or Hera. So this is really, really well done, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this figure. I think this is cool. I don't know if you've gotten it already yet or if you're waiting for somebody to review it. But if it is, we're gonna have all the links in the bio for you guys to go ahead and purchase your own. I think this is a good addition to any Star Wars display, whether you're like me who just kind of like the droids and certain characters, or if you want to collect the whole line of Ahsoka or even maybe the Rebels. I think this is a good addition to have, or even if you just like Chopper, guys. Like I said, I like Chopper. He's an angry little droid. He's funny, so I really love that about this character, so I had to get him, guys. If you guys like what you see, guys, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to subscribe to Toy Quest 101. We hope you enjoyed this review. Leave us a comment, like the video, and we'll see you guys on another episode of Toy Quest 101. We'll see you guys.